Om Tridevibhyo Namaha. Welcome back to Trishakti Healing, a place where we discuss various concepts of living a spiritual life in the modern context. Now, I've been speaking to you about the various aspects of our Shastras which can help us understand how to align our Dharma and Karma correctly. And in this series, I'm today beginning to talk about the jewels that are hidden in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Now, in our Patanjali Yoga Sutras, or what is also referred to as the Ashtanga Yoga, or the 8 limbs of the yoga, Patanjali talks about Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Dhyana, Dharana, Pratyahar, Samadhi. And in all of these things, there are various deep understandings of life to be taken. But the first two, Yama and Niyama, offer us particularly sharp observations for external and internal regulation. Yama, or external regulation, is also referred to as a set of Mahavratas, or clear intentions of action in life that we need to take. Those Mahavratas themselves, which is Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya and Aparigraha, they themselves are great principles to anchor our Dharma and Karma in the right direction. So to begin with, let's talk about Ahimsa. What is Ahimsa? Normally, people understand that Ahimsa means the lack of violence, physical violence towards others. In a small context, this might be true. However, there is a larger context of life for it to be looked at, and I'm going to decipher this for you. So let's first understand that Ahimsa is having that, or Ahimsa is to be practiced first towards our own self, our own life and our own destiny. And let's understand how. Now, for many of us, the physical endowments that we have, the way we look, our personality and so many other things, we don't like it. We don't like our life. We don't like our contexts. We don't like the parents that we are born to, or we don't like siblings, or we don't like the environment we are born in, or we don't like the certain aspects of our destiny of what we have or what we don't have. The moment we get into these kind of rejections of our own self, our own life, our own destiny, what are we doing? Rejection is an act of violence. An act of violence is an act of hinsa, which means the basic principle of ahimsa is being nullified and not followed the moment we get into judgments, comparisons, and so many other such negative feelings towards our own life. This is the first place that we need to stop. We need to surrender to our own life. We need to fully accept who we are, our life, our endowments, our circumstances, people in our life, and the various things which are there or which are not there. We have to have complete acceptance towards that. Now, ahimsa doesn't say, don't work for progress. Do that. But do that with complete acceptance of who you are, not with the rejection of who you are or the life that you have been given. Understand? That's a slight difference. And this is not some psychobabble positive thinking thing. No, it isn't. It's about total and complete acceptance and having what is called Somita, or a very significant gentleness towards your own life. That's ahimsa towards self. So the first principle of ahimsa is ahimsa towards our own life, our own self and our own destiny. The second principle of ahimsa is ahimsa towards all living beings in thoughts, words and actions. All animal forms, all plant forms, all human beings. In fact, our spiritual grounding so says that we are all created as an amsha of the Paramatma, and the Paramatma is within us. So if we are all created in the amsha of the Paramatma, and if the Paramatma is in all of us, then all of us are connected. Aren't we the same? And that's one of the things that our spiritual practices talk about, that we see ourselves in everything. In fact, we have to understand that whatever we experience in life, whoever we experience in life, contexts, people, relationship, they are all attracted to us and are reflections, or reflections of our karma and reflections of our prarabdha. And this is something that I have spoken about in the destiny series or the bhagya series some time back. So have complete ahimsa in thoughts, words, and actions towards every single human being. There is nothing that we should do to hurt or harm anyone around us. Everyone deserves that basic respect from us. That is an important aspect of aligning our dharma and karma. So if we have to look at a perfectly aligned dharma and karma towards anybody around us, especially our vishesha karmas, which means the relationships that we have the karma in them, or the vishesha dharmas as it is said, the responsibilities of relationships that we have, it should be done with total ahimsa, which means ahimsa in thoughts, words, and actions. The third principle is about ahimsa towards nature and resources. So no harm to be done to nature, and also no wasting of resources, especially water as a resource, or earth as a resource, or the air as a resource. Ensure that we are doing our utmost best to prevent any sort of harm. Now, during life, during living, yes, we light a fire, yes, we do certain things, yes, we wash, and that water goes back to earth and the river sources. So these are all certain acts of violence, and which is where our shastras say that minimize these damages, be responsible, learn certain habits of recycling, etc. These are very important things. So ahimsa again talks about preserving nature, replenishing nature, preserving resources, replenishing those resources, and not creating waste and so many other such challenges which human beings actually do. And this one is a very important principle, and it's not just a challenge for every single one of us, but all of humanity put together, because all put together, we are a very violent race. In fact, the human race is the most violent towards nature if you compare of all animal and life species. Now, if we were to practice these three things, which is ahimsa towards self, ahimsa towards all living beings, and ahimsa towards nature and resources, we are then in a very powerful alignment with the energy of ahimsa, and our dharma and our karma will be very focused. And that dharma and karma being focused is going to give us viveka, which means discretion, sadbhav, which is harmony with everybody, a sense of balance, which is santulan, and sthirta, which is stability. Right? And that ensures that our life starts flowing positively and naturally, and that there are no unnatural incidences in our life. Because let's understand, when we create challenges in our environment is when unnatural things happen. When things are in a flow, then only that which is supposed to happen as a natural recourse in our life will happen. This is living ahimsa, and this is how dharma and karma can be fine-tuned in a very powerful way using the first step of the first limb of Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. I'm sure you have gained some valuable insights about ahimsa. Please start practicing this. Even small changes in life with ahimsa can make a significant difference. I will see you soon with the second principle of Yama, where I will talk about Satya. Till then, Jai Mahakal, Jai Mahakali.